President-elect Donald Trump is preparing to implement sweeping changes to U.S. immigration policy as he returns to the White House. According to sources close to the transition team, these measures focus heavily on mass detention, stricter border enforcement, and the removal of undocumented immigrants within the United States. These policies signal a return to hardline immigration practices reminiscent of Trump's first term, with significant modifications targeting interior enforcement and asylum processes. 1. Mass detention facilities. Trump's administration is exploring the expansion of detention facilities to accommodate a surge in deportations. Plans include building new centers in major metropolitan areas and partnering with private prison operators and local jails. CoreCivic, a private prison company, has already expressed readiness to increase detention capacity. 2. Return of the Remain in Mexico policy. This policy, officially known as the Migrant Protection Protocols, requires asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while awaiting their U.S. court hearings. Critics argue this exposes migrants to dangerous conditions and human rights abuses. 3. Reversing Biden-era protections. Trump plans to revoke protections provided under Biden's humanitarian parole programs. New executive orders could mandate detention for all migrants, eliminating current practices of releasing migrants due to limited resources. 4. Increased interior enforcement. Trump's team is reportedly preparing for large-scale deportation campaigns targeting undocumented immigrants already residing in the U.S. Homeland Security will shift enforcement priorities to focus on all undocumented migrants, not just those deemed threats to public safety or national security. 5. Family detention. Family detention, a practice ended by President Biden, is expected to be reinstated. This controversial policy has faced widespread criticism from immigrant advocacy groups for its impact on children. Funding challenges. Implementing these measures will require substantial funding. The Trump administration may reallocate existing federal resources and consider declaring a national emergency to access additional funds through the Department of Defense. Critics warn that such moves could spark legal challenges similar to those seen during Trump's first term. Key figures behind the plan. Stephen Miller, known for his hardline stance on immigration, Miller will serve as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Tom Homan, the former acting IC director, will act as border czar and is central to operational planning. Kristi Noem, the South Dakota governor, will lead the Department of Homeland Security, overseeing policy implementation. Criticism and controversy. 1. Human rights concerns. Advocates warn that the policies could lead to widespread human rights abuses, especially with the reinstatement of family detention and Remain in Mexico. 2. Legal and ethical debates. Immigration experts have raised concerns about the legality of mandatory detention and mass deportations, particularly under international asylum laws. 3. Economic and social impact. Critics argue that these policies could strain federal resources, disrupt local economies, and separate families. Support from allies. Supporters argue these policies are essential for national security and restoring order at the border. Trump's team emphasizes that the measures reflect his campaign promises and the mandate given by voters in the 2024 election. Historical context. During Trump's first term, the U.S. deported 1.5 million people. While this figure is significant, it remains lower than the 2.9 million deportations under Barack Obama's first term. Trump's previous policies, including family separation, faced widespread backlash but were defended as necessary deterrents. Donald Trump's proposed immigration policies mark a return to hardline enforcement that could reshape U.S. immigration for years to come. As the incoming administration prepares to roll out these measures, the debate over their legality, effectiveness, and ethical implications continues to dominate political discourse. Stay tuned as we monitor how these plans unfold and their impact on the U.S. and migrant communities.